That was presumptuous of me. Maybe you don't know who I am at all, so let me just start over. Hi guys, I have decided to start a booktube. I'm really excited about it because you guys see me talking all the time on TikTok. If you're following me on TikTok, that was presumptuous of me. Maybe you don't know who I am at all, so let me just start over. Okay, my name is Marissa Davis. I have a Bookstagram and a TikTok, a book talk. I'm That's So Davis on TikTok, and I am Marissa Brienne on Instagram, and I post all kinds of stuff about books. I'm obsessed with books. I have been since I was probably old enough to read. I have 3 kids and I'm married, but that doesn't stop my love for all things books and smut. I will literally read anything. Doesn't have to have smut in it, but I do like a little spice added in there. But I will literally read anything as long as the plot is good. I like to read fantasy, but I mostly lean towards the romance genre. So I'm just going to show you guys some of my favorite books that I go back to and reread all the time, especially if I'm looking for a comfort read, if I'm like feeling super anxious and I feel like I just need to read something that I know what's going to happen and it's going to make me feel better. These are the books I'm going to read. Also, if I'm in a book slump and I literally don't know what I want to read next, which happens to me all the time, these are the books I'm going to read. So I'm going to show you those now. Okay, so the first book is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. If you read this book, you probably know why it's like a reread and I go back and read all the time. I love that it's that it jumps back and forth, like past tense and present tense. I love that it starts out with their friendship first, and I feel like it is very angsty, which if you follow me on TikTok, you know I am the queen of angst. And this is a story about like first love and young love and how that first young love turns into true love, and they have a bunch of obstacles in their way. They were friends when they were kids, and then they come back as adults, and she has a boyfriend and he has a girlfriend. And okay, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but one of my favorite parts of this book is when he comes back, he sees her for the first time that he hasn't seen her in years, and he immediately breaks up with his girlfriend. And he's like, I broke up with her because I'm in love with you and I've always been in love with you, and seeing you today just reminded me of that fact, and how could I go back to her when I know I'm in love with you? And it's just chef's kiss. It's everything I want in a book, and it's so sweet. I love it. Number 2, okay, this I actually have been trying to annotate a little bit because it's one of my favorite books, but this is one of my favorite series. I go back to it time and time again. I could recite everything about this, but now that I'm on camera, I will probably forget every word I've ever read in this book. But this is Fall and Crest High by Tejan Mayer, and Tejan has like a very specific way that she writes that I absolutely love. It's if you've ever read her books, you know that she just has a very specific voice, and I feel like I am in the mind of her characters when I read this. This is about a girl who her parents get a divorce. Her mom moves in with this guy that she's been seeing, and he has 2 sons who are like these notorious guys that everybody knows. They're like the bad boys, but they're so cool. Everybody wants to be friends with them. She also finds out pretty early on that her boyfriend is being super sneaky and shady with her best friend. So all of these things are happening to her at once, and she is getting closer and closer with these brothers, one in particular, and they kind of start this romance and this big epic love thing going on. But she also kind of has this other guy who's interested in her. There's so much angst and drama, and just these moments that you go through when you're young and you're a teenager, and you just feel that like angst and heartbreak. And like I said, Tejan makes you feel for these characters. She makes you feel like you're in their head and you're feeling the things that they're feeling. And what I love about this book and the series is there's all these little moments, and I love the little moments. Obviously, I love the spice, I love the plot, I love the smut, I love it. Give it all to me. But the little moments, like there's one in particular where the back of his hand brushes her thigh, and she just talks about like how she got these intense feelings when that happened, and like these lingering looks, and I just love it. I think there's 7 books in this series, and it explores so many different things. Also, I am a hoe for found family. I love found family. This is a found family series. She has a lot of mommy issues, which I too have and had a lot of mommy issues. So I think that's what also gravitates me towards this series, and she works through that. And this book it's not just about the love between the two main leads, it's also about the love of family. And I think that's also really important in books, and should really be represented more in books and shows and movies, because it's important to see what familial love is supposed to look like, not just romantic love. So I really like that about this series, and I will read this like 5 to 10 times a year. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's something that I'll just go back to. I have it on Audible. If I'm having a bad day, I'll literally just throw it on, and it always makes me feel better. Like, my husband makes fun of me because it'll be like playing while I'm getting ready, and I can recite word for word what's gonna happen, and he's like, that doesn't get old. And I'm like, first of all, no. Also, I'm really sorry for saying like a million times. I'm trying to get better at my vocabulary, but I'm also very nervous. So just cut me some slack, okay? Next, Boys of Brayshaw High. Kind of going on the same theme. These two series remind me a lot of each other. There's a big epic love, which I love. But what I love about Boys of Brayshaw High is Raven, our main character, is a bona fide badass. She comes into this new school. She is put into this home because her mom can no longer take care of her. Her mom basically signs her rights away. She has a POS mom, and she also has mommy issues. Are we seeing a theme here? She starts this new school, and these 3 boys think they own this school, and they kind of try to tell her what to do, and she's like, I'm not really into that. I'm kind of going to do my own thing. I don't really care what you say. That causes a lot of tension. But also at the same time, she sees that these boys have this strong family bond, and that's something that she's always wanted and craved. And she kind of gets sucked into that, and she gets sucked into these boys and their lives, and she really likes one of them, and she befriends the other 2. And kind of going off what I said of Fallen Crest, I really like how they explore familial love and how you can have platonic, friendly love for people. And I think that's also so important to have in your lives, not just, outside of romantic love, because you need people that you can rely on. And I love how this explores it. I also just love that she's like a street fighter. Like, she goes out and she like fights, and I think you see that a lot with guys in books. Like, there's always the scene where the guy gets hurt, he is in a fight, and she's taking care of him. That does happen in this book, but also she gets in a fight and they take care of her, and I kind of like that switch up, and I like that a lot. And Megan Brandy also has a very specific way she writes that I just love. I think I could pick up a book and not know the cover and not know who the author was, and I could tell you it was a Megan Brandy book. She does that very, very well. And moving on to that whole familial love thing and a found family is this book series. Okay, this is my all-time favorite series. Nothing compares, nothing competes. Nothing will top this series. You can't change my mind. You can't. If you have anything, if you've read these books and you have anything that is similar, please let me know. I've been trying to chase the feeling I felt when I read these books since they came out, and I can't get there, and I wish I could. Binding 13 explores a girl whose name is Shannon, and she was bullied profusely and relentlessly, and her mom enrolls her in this school. Thing about Shannon is she's very poor, and her family is very poor, and she has a lot of brothers, and her brother loves her. They have a wonderful relationship. He really wanted her to get into this school as well because he was sick and tired of seeing his sister being treated so poorly at her school. She starts this school, and something to note is this is set in Ireland, and they are very big on rugby there. So she starts this new school, and she forgets her phone, and she's like going off to try to find it, and she crosses the rugby field. She ends up getting hit in the head by our main male character, Johnny, who is mad about something, and he kicks the rugby and it hits her. And my God, I love them so much. Their back and forth and their inner dialogue is so great. And what I love about this is Johnny really just wants to be friends with Shannon, right? He really doesn't want it to go any further, but his inner dialogue is all about how he just can't stop thinking about her. Like, he's obsessed with her. He wants to just be around her, and he's thinking about her all the time. And his friend Gypsy, God, I love Gipsy. I can't wait for his book. He is hilarious. He brings so much comedic relief into some of these very, very tense subjects that happen in this book. Like I said, she does not have a good home life. She has a lot of issues with her father. Her father is abusive, and it explores that. So if that's something that triggers you, I maybe wouldn't recommend this, but it is just, it's very beautifully written and very, very detailed. These are big books, but I just feel like you can feel the feelings through this book. Like, you're feeling everything Shannon and Johnny are feeling, and their love for each other is just fantastic. And I love, like, the Ireland, I don't know if slang is the correct word, but I love, like, the way they talk. I just think it's so cool and unique, and I wish I was cooler and uniquer. That's not a word. Okay, this one is angsty, and if you haven't read this one, be prepared, because this one hurts. It's a duet. I don't have the second book. It's Sam the One by Siobhan Davis. Oop. Oh, I didn't know that was in there. Cool. This one is about a girl and her first love, her high school lover, and he becomes this very famous actor, and his co-star really, really likes him in more than a co-star way. She wants to take him from our main character, and our main character goes through a lot, man. She goes through a lot. She ends up leaving because something happens between her and her first love, and she goes and she meets this other guy, and they have this epic love story, but he's not really ready for her. She's not really ready for him, and I don't want to say too much about this book because the twist is very, very good, and I am afraid that I'm going to ruin it for you, but it made me cry. And that's not saying a lot, because I don't cry very easily, but I also don't just, like, have a black heart. But it made me cry. It made me sob. I stayed up. I was very, very emotional. Can't say too much, but this is something that I go back to all the time, and this is a new cover, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And this last series that I'm going to talk about is The Elite Kings Club by Amo Jones. If you haven't read this, it's incredible. It is on the darker side. It's about this girl who goes to this new school, and it's like an elite school. You know, it's like full of these like elite guys, and these guys so she moves in with her dad, and she has a stepbrother, and he has these friends who obviously are in this boys club, but it's kind of more than a boys club. It's like a secret society kind of club, and you don't really know that going into it, but there are these hints dropped, you know, throughout. It is dark. I'm gonna say that off the bat. It explores dark themes. It gets dark. Amo Jones writes dark. I love it. I think it's incredible. I also, this is like a found family thing. I think like I said, I'm a hoe for the found family. I love it. I love everything about it. But this series will F with your mind. It'll F with your mind. You'll read it and you'll think you know what's going on, and then something happens and you're like, what the hell did I just read? What just happened? But I love that. I think it's incredible. The twists and turns are amazing. I can now go back and reread it, and it's a comfort for me when I have anxiety, but before, it gave me anxiety because I had no idea where it was going. But it kept me on my toes, and it was one of those books / series that I stayed up all night reading on my phone. I read a lot on the Kindle app. I have a Kindle, but I find myself reading a lot on the Kindle app on my phone, and I was just like up, just like a fiend. I was just like, I gotta find out what happens next. It's amazing. So those are some of my favorite books. I do have another favorite book that I go back and reread all the time, but unfortunately, this has happened to me a couple times. A couple books that I really like, they're no longer available. Like, you can't find them anywhere. Can't find them on Amazon. Can't find them on Kindle. So I'm not gonna recommend that one. But these are some of my favorite books that I go back and reread all the time. If you have a favorite book that you would like me to read or share, please let me know down below in the comments. I am a reading hoe, and I love all the books. Okay, bye.